Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Beacon in the Dark. We have a bit of an unstable schedule, as you can see, but for this week, at the very least, we're back. And before we get into what happened last time and all that good stuff, as usual, let's have our players introduce themselves and their characters. The dice say we ought to start first and foremost with DoomGoblin. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself and your character?
Yeah, I am DoomGoblin and I play Captain Bladebeard, an adventuring sailor.
Yep, he is. Thank you very, very much, DoomGoblin. And then next we would have Sir Thompshire. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself and your character?
Sure. As always, I'll be playing as Benjamin Aaran, the traveling swordsman. That is gonna be proving his innocence today, and everything's gonna go well, and he's not gonna get conscripted. He's not gonna get any other deals that would make everything horrible, because everything is gonna be fine.
Probably. Could you do me a small favor, Thompshire, and talk a little bit closer to the microphone, or I already have you tuned to max. But other than that, thank you very, very much for introducing yourself and your character. Then the dice say we ought to have Banrak introduce himself and his character. Could you please go ahead, Banrak?
Hello, I am Benarak, and I am playing an ogre pirate known as Bud, and also known as Morg. And he is quite the yapper.
Yeah, he is. He is. Thank you very, very much, Banrak. And then, of course, we would have Zelryn. Could you please go ahead and introduce yourself and your character?
Good evening. I'm Zelryn, and I play Lyri Embersorrow, the upset blood elf who is mad at the Teeironor for leaving them in a time displacement chamber for hours on end before the court session.
Understandable. We'll see how that goes. Thank you very, very much, Zelryn. And now, dear viewers, as is custom, we would have our recap. I read it last time for objective reasons. I can't really read it this time, so I'm gonna let the dice decide among the four of you, going like alphabetical. So that's a 2. Who's number 2? DoomGoblin, apparently. DoomGoblin, are you up to the challenge?
Yeah.
Awesome. We're all ears.
The long-awaited meeting with the Council of Six approaches, as our heroes prepare themselves to face the music. Having just released Meridia from her ensorcerment, the group was approached by a guardsman, who handed them series of papers and asked them to be signed quickly. Our heroes were able to determine that those were conscription papers, obliging them to serve in Dalaran's military for the duration of military operation in exchange for exception from prosecution. However, the rush time limit, disagreements among the group, as well as the fact that Dalaran reserved the right to re-enlist them, persuaded our heroes to refuse. They handed back the unsigned papers with the exception of Benjamin, Aaran, and Chief Captain Morg, who kept theirs. Meanwhile, Benjamin also received a sending spell from Paraxia, the goblin apprentice he had previously encountered, who was trying to pin some unspecified blame on him. The group then witnessed a dejected Meridia exit the Violet Hold. Apparently having been set free, she explained that she has been given a harsher sentence for not showing up to her scheduled meeting, exile from Dalaran and the Kiringtor. Unsure of where to head next, she offered our hero some advice about upcoming meeting with the Council of Six and answered questions before departing. Our heroes were then finally taken to the meeting. though they were told they might have to wait in a separate room first, Benjamin noticed that when they were teleported, similar to what had happened when they first arrived in Dalaran, the group had been separated. Nevertheless, he found himself with his companions, and after Captain Bladebeard quotes Morg were called in alone with Lyri Embersorrow, he quickly realized that the Kirin were attempting to extract information from the group by having them talk with their supposed companions. So everyone in Benjamin's room was fake except for him. And Morg and Bladebeard left. Morg, however, was not that savvy. He revealed an important amount of information to fake Bladebeard. Bladebeard and Lyri, who were actually placed together, did not reveal much, as the dwarf realized that the Kirin were probably listening in, like they were when he was in prison. So it made sense that he would think that they are still listening.
Yeah.
The Council of Six nevertheless tried to drag out more information from the two by making it seem like hours on end passed. But I guess they didn't actually pass.
Correct.
And by having them speak to a fake Kyrigosa, who claimed to have been appointed as their legal counsel. After, for some reason or another, each interrogation has finished. Our heroes find themselves in a disorienting place with a rapidly changing weather, facing 5 shadowy figures.
Indeed. Thank you very, very much, DoomGoblin. As previously stated in the recap, the 4 of you, Gurren is not there to reiterate, the 4 of you find yourselves in this weird place with rapidly changing weather. And it's definitely disorienting and uncomfortable, almost certainly intentionally. You are standing on something, but you don't see ground beneath you. The weather is changing constantly, like for an instant it'll be really, really cold as if you're in the Arctic mountains, and then 10 seconds later you'll be in a tropical landscape. The 5 shadows in front of you don't seem to be affected by this, almost certainly intentionally. And I'll create a little scene aspect that, of course, you guys may use. Disorienting landscape.
Is it just the landscape, or like do we feel hot, cold?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said. You do feel hot, cold, the wind blowing. Yeah, the 5.
Yeah, that's kind of just torture. That's rude.
And the 5 shadows in front of you don't seem to be affected by that in any way. That said, before we get into things, curious as our usual bit of warm up, anything going through your little noggins? Anything going through your heads before we begin?
This weather is absolutely horrible and very long. I'd be happy about it, I guess.
Understandable.
Where are we?
Is this heaven? Are we dead?
Don't think it's heaven. Might be other place.
Are
it's not
those
as fiery.
angels?
You stand before the Council of 6 of the Kirin, says the first shadow. I'm gonna call them number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Count them left to right, alright?
How are their voices? Are they like...
Indistinguishable.
Okay.
It sounds...
Okay.
you know those like police videos where they like censor a witness's voice? Yeah.
They got like distortion and stuff.
Yep. You're unable to tell any characteristics from their voice alone, and their shapes themselves are changing. So the voice number 1 says, "You're standing before the Council of 6 of the Kirin. Behave yourselves, will you?
Oh, okay. Blobs.
We are here to discuss the various accusations that have been levied against you, says voice number 4, and the possibility of repayment of your crimes. Setting things right. Voice number two then says, I do not believe that there is much cause for repayment. Several of these individuals seem extremely dangerous to me. I don't even believe this hearing is necessary, to be honest. Voice number 5 then says, let's hear them out. So, let's start first and foremost with you, Lyri Embersorrow. Step forth.
Lyri will kind of give Benjamin a look and nervously step forward.
Voice number 3 says, though we are addressing Lyri Embersorrow, all of you are free to speak up. This is a hearing for your entire group, though we may address you one at a time. Is this understood?
Benjamin would nod.
Lyri would not.
Yep.
Voice number 2 says, so, Lyri Embersorrow, collaborator of the Horde, killer, instigator of a riot, what say you in your defense? You were asked a question, says voice number 5. I suggest that you answer.
Lyri looks at Benjamin.
Voice number 2 then says, as I said, in collaborator of the with the Horde, agent of the Horde, and instigator of riots, and of various other petty crimes that I could list if you so wish. What say you in your defense? Is there a reason why you should not be simply thrown into the Viad Hold along with the rest of your kin?
If I may, what riot is this referring to in particular?
Voice number 4 says, the riot that caused the deaths of about 80 bold people in Stormwind. An odd choice, but we have the confession from your friend over there, the ogre.
Benjamin just kind of clears his throat and goes silent.
Lyri will not say anything, I guess. I mean, what is that to say here?
You were asked what say you in your defense, to reiterate.
Yeah, well, I guess I have nothing to say in my defense. I guess Lyri will nervously say, well, technically that wasn't my doing.
Explain, says voice number 2.
Well, there was this conspiracy involving this bold figure. His name was Clovis. He was plotting against the throne of Stormwind. And I had just become acquaintances with this turtle who claimed to have a wide net of people at his disposal. And I asked politely if they could look out for any bold people. And how would I know they would all be crazy
Who
killers?
is this turtle, says voice number 4.
His name was Hotep, I think. He was Bladebeard's friend. He probably knows more.
You should perhaps mention where that turtle is or is heading, considering its speed.
Where is it heading again?
Above board, I don't remember.
Above board, you sent it to Darkshire. Duskwood. Above board. So where is it heading then, says voice number 2, and why is this relevant? What is this turtle capable of, says voice number 2.
Having 80 bold people killed in Stormwind, apparently.
Explain.
Well, he mind-controlled people, I think. He did it to our ship as well, the Good Fortune.
Voice number 3 says, we have received word from Stormwind of a violent, spontaneous riot that occurred at night around the same day that a ship exploded in harbor, says voice number 3.
Yes, that ship was exploded by this Clovis individual, part of a conspiracy in Stormwind by the name of the Silver Mane.
We have received Nisa's report, says voice number 2. Tell us something we don't know.
Well, this Tortolan, I believe, is some sort of servant of the Void or a certain Void-affiliated faction.
Further evidence of the danger of that one, indicating Lyri, says voice number 2.
I didn't mind control anyone.
Then why did the Tortolan and the rioters follow your orders, says voice number 2.
Because I'm apparently of great importance to them or something. I mean, I just took it as a means to finding that Clovis person. I didn't know they were of that sort.
Voice number 5 says, call it a hunch, but does the word beacon say anything to the group of you?
Gary kind of
Sounds
eyes,
like bacon.
Gary kind of eyes Benjamin like,
Benjamin kind of nods to Lyrius and go ahead.
yes. Perhaps.
Voice number 5 produces, give me a second, produces these that I've just placed on screen and says, this was retrieved from Danubius Frostfall, from after the Battle of the Danubius Frostfall, and it's vague, an old tome indicating research about a beacon. Voice number 2 says, what does this have to do with anything? And voice number 5 says, I'm hoping to find out.
It is true. I am the beacon. And that is why servants of the void are out for me, or I don't know. There's like factions or something.
Then we should kill you and be done with it, says voice number 2. I will not have servants of the void polluting and infiltrating this great city.
I mean, they already are. I mean, I have information about it, but if you kill me, then I never know. Benjamin?
Perhaps we can use you as a lure then, says voice number 3.
Don't you already have Shalon?
Explain, says voice number 3.
Don't bring him into this.
Well, I wasn't the only name of importance the Void people were talking about. They also were talking about that Shalon fellow. I think they called him the Keystone or something. I don't remember exactly, but if you have to kill me, then surely it would only be right to kill him as well.
Acceptable, says voice number 2. This is voice number 5. Let us not so readily discuss the murder of innocents. We are not standing before an innocent, says voice number 2. Go on then, tell us more about your association with this Tortolan, says voice number 2.
I mean, that's it. Bladebeard knew him. I talked to him. He revered me. I asked him to find bow people. He killed all of them, and then he ran away to Duskwood, Darkshire. I don't remember which one. Same old.
Why Duskwood? Says voice number 3.
We wanted him to go away, and that was the first thing that came to mind. He
So
was
you,
real fanatical.
so you set him on a path of destruction towards Duskwood, says voice number 2.
Oh, that's a bit exaggerated, but
Moby Ganmore, what say you about this Tortolan? Says voice number 2.
I met him in Stormwind, in the tunnels. He knew them quite well.
What else have you met in the tunnels? Says voice number 2.
Ooh, there was that Legion cult that we defeated.
There was also a Void Cult.
Void cult and skeletons.
Oh, and the really old granny.
Yeah.
There is a pause, and voice number 5 says, "What does it mean to awaken the blood?"
Benjamin kind of shrugs. Above board, have we heard this before? I don't
I don't
seem to
think
so.
recognize this.
Nope.
I guess Lyri shrugs.
It's mentioned in Danubius's research on the beacon.
I have no idea.
Considering the origin of Lyri's powers, let's say, maybe there's perhaps something hidden there?
Wait, Meridia is his blood, and she was sleeping. Maybe he was thinking of waking her up.
This book is not offered by Danubius, it is simply his notes inscribed on this ancient tome. A translation of a translation of a translation, says voice number 1. It is unreliable.
Does that book mention a Zelatath by any chance?
We have not had, this is voice number 5, exactly time to study it. We have only examined the notes that Danubius left behind. He was mostly interested in this beacon business.
Well, all I'm saying is that Lyri's void problems began with this Zelatath, so maybe there's a connection.
It says, voice number 5 begins, but voice number 1 interrupts it. As I mentioned, this book is a translation of a translation of a translation. Why are we even discussing it? It is unreliable.
Should we talk about the Naga that tried to take me somewhere?
Explain, says voice number 2.
On our ship, the Good Fortune, this crab Naga thing tried taking me somewhere.
I believe it was from a different faction than the Tortolan.
I
I'm
wonder if
not
it's a different faction than the one who was in Demerand.
Why don't we talk a little bit about what happened, this is voice number 2, on your travels aboard the Good Fortune? We have some information that there was an incident aboard the ship.
There was-
well, as you know, there's no laws on the sea, so it shouldn't really be any of your concern.
On the contrary, if the affected individuals are citizens of the Alliance, it very much concerns us, says voice number 2. And then voice number 3 continues, the Teeironor are also the stewards of magic. Do not forget that.
There was a massacre. My cousin died during it, and
What
my
happened?
mother was in danger, and many other people died. Wait, 27.
Oh no, the
27. Like 27 people died. I know it on top of my head.
How? Says voice number 2.
They killed each other. They went mad.
Oh god.
You okay?
It was just my window that's closed with the wind. What was I gonna say? Yes, this Tortolan sort of brainwashed half the crew into some sort of cult.
Yeah.
Well, but he wasn't there. You chopped off Lyri's hand, she went mad and tried to destroy the ship, and then everyone started killing each other.
Well, I didn't know they were gonna do that. I didn't even know they were brainwashed.
Why did you try to destroy the ship? You would have killed us all.
Oh, well, that's neither here nor there.
I disagree. It is very much relevant. Continue, says voice number 2.
Well, the important thing is that now I'm in a magical contract with Benjamin, and I can't do anything that he says I can't
The
do.
important thing is that you answer questions when you are asked. Continue, says voice number 2.
Wait, Benjamin, if you order Lyri not to lie, does she have to tell the truth?
I guess.
Well, do it.
Just tell them what happened on the ship.
Wait, I have to do it?
If Benjamin says so, above board, yeah.
Well, what in particular?
Well, you're
Do we really have to talk about how I went crazy and almost blew up the ship?
Yes.
Well, to be fair, this buffoon chopped my hand off because I was cooking bread, if you would believe it. I don't know.
So it was okay to destroy the ship we were all on?
Well, emotions were running high, and I kind of had a thing in my head.
and that's exactly the problem that you need to deal with. That isn't just outright murdering you.
This was
Silence. Let the elf speak, says voice number 2.
Well, this is before I got this crown that keeps the voices from doing anything bad. So, let's just say I was a bit more volatile back then.
Did you not imply that what happened was your own doing, the attempt to destroy the ship? You'd said nothing about voices, says voice number 2.
Well, can you really cut a divide between the voices and myself when I don't have control? At that point, it's kind of one and the same, right?
So was the riot caused by the voices too? Was the destruction of supplies of the Blackwater Raiders caused by the voices too? Was your cooperation with the Horde caused by the voices too?
Okay, well, number one, destruction of Blackwater Raider supplies? What is this? Like, during the Battle of Booty Bay? I mean, that was a war zone. There was no, if ands or buts, you know, if I was fighting Legion people...
On Golden Skull, says voice number 2. Voice number 3 says, I believe that is circumstantial at this point. We cannot rely on Danubius's testimony. Voice number 2 says,
well,
this is
actually,
not...
I did destroy some supplies on Golden Skull, but that was because the island was being invaded. We had no time to evacuate them, and it was like a beacon, you know, a smoke signal for people to see and be led to the ship.
Look, the island was being invaded by undead hordes, by a giant undead dragon.
That is okay to take away the supplies of the people who might survive the attack, says voice number 2.
Nobody survived the attack. People who didn't get on the boats died. And the beacon led them to the boats. The fire signal. It worked. If you want to talk about who led people to death on Golden Skull, we can talk about this guy over here, Moog.
Explain.
Come on.
Well, I am being forced to tell the truth by Benjamin, so...
That was not what I said. I said about what happened on the ship, aka...
We would ask you that you tell the truth regardless, says voice number 1. Explain.
Well, one of our friends led a bunch of unfortunately abled people into a onslaught of ghouls and skeletons, and they all might have died. And then that person ran away, and it wasn't me,
And
or
this
Bladebeard,
was
or Benjamin.
and this was
That's
not
not what happened.
Well, explain yourself then, says voice number 5.
Alright. I led the charge against mighty hordes of undead with the people, and I tried to inspire them, and it worked really well. And, well, the turn of tide went really poorly, and I told them to retreat, and they didn't retreat. So, I had to go and help my friends. And that's what happened.
So you abandoned hundreds of people to their deaths because you had to help your friends do what? Says voice number 2.
We're taking down the dragon, and we had to go, and they wouldn't listen to me.
Where does this hundreds number even come from? Says voice number 3, addressing voice number 2. Well, they all but confirmed it, did they not? Says voice number 2.
Was it not thousands, Benjamin?
Thousands? What do you mean? There were like 5 ships on
Wasn't-
the island.
Above,
Wasn't that many?
above board, it was around 100, a little more over 100 above board.
100 ships or 100
People,
people?
people that morally
Okay.
led to their deaths.
Oh, rip.
Lyri is breathing a sigh of relief now that the attention is on her anymore.
Look, we tried to save as many people as we could, okay?
That is not in question, says voice number 1, but this act of intentionally burning supplies and, well, leading hundreds of people to their deaths, that cannot be ignored, says voice number 1.
No one was forced to do anything, according to what I understand.
I mean, if
Did
you think
they
that's
not
bad,
voluntarily
then what
go into
Bladebeard
battle?
did was much worse.
Alright then, says voice number 2. What does this confession we heard from Moarg that you, dear Lyri, kind of caused a war, to quote? Explain.
What? Oh! Well, I was in the Netherstorm because I was trying to get back home, and I may have got the sigils wrong on my teleportation stuff. So I was in the Netherstorm.
Evidence of her collaboration with the Horde, says voice number 2. Continue.
Going home does not count as collaboration.
What
I
is
was
your
just-
home then, if not Silvermoon?
You're treating me like a war criminal for wanting to.
From my
go
point
back
of view,
to
you
my-
are.
Well, not for
I'm
this.
sorry, so a baby born in Silvermoon is a criminal all of a sudden?
We are not talking about a baby, we're talking about someone who instigated a riot, to quote, kind of caused a war. Do I need to go on?
To be fair, the war mentioned is between what? Demons, Sun Fury elves who are allied with demons, dragons. I mean,
So your
No,
voice number 4 says, so your argument is that these people were all evil and thus deserve to kill each other? Have you
I
not
mean-
considered the
that's
wider
your
impact?
argument about why you don't like me. And Lyri sticks out her tongue and then immediately.
Have you not considered the
no
wider
problem.
implications of this war that you have caused? So, says voice number 4. How it has so happened to be in the most volatile area of Outland that, if further disturbed, may lead to the destruction of the entire world?
Well, saying that I caused the war is a bit much.
I am not the
considering-
one saying that. It's your companion saying that. By
I
his
know,
own admission.
which is very strange considering they also participated in this war and also caused it, even more than I did.
Explain.
They teamed up with the dragons and set them against the elves. They teamed up. They helped me team up and set the elves and the demons against each other. They are just as guilty as this as I am.
What was your end goal with all this geopolitical machinations? To mess with a precarious balance of power just for the sake of it? Says voice number 4. This question is addressed to like the entire group, not just Lyri.
We just kind of wanted to leave Neverstorm.
I think
I
there's
was
the
there.
point to be made that we don't have this overview of every issue in the world, so we were faced with bad people and we fought back. It's as simple as that.
From what she was describing, it sounds like you did a lot more than just fight back.
Maybe because we were captured by dragons and were kind of forced to help them. I mean, we were stomped by fell reavers. Like Bud literally was attacked by one 8 times in a row. How likely is that to happen? We were dying out there. We had to do something to leave.
So causing, again, a war in the most magically unstable area of the entire world, potentially setting it on the path of destruction, was the way to go.
I mean, look at it. It's already half destroyed anyway. Who cares?
Do you... Let's say hypothetically that Outland was entirely inhabited by demons, the undead, and whatever else monstrosity. This is voice number 4 talking. Do you not imagine that if, say, that entire world would blow up again, that the explosion would not affect Azeroth as well? Do you not understand that the Dark Portal was shut down the first time for a reason? The second time, actually, says voice number 3. The second time, yes, does not matter.
If I may ask, why is the Dark Portal still standing at all?
That is neither here nor there, says voice number 2.
Well, I mean, if you have time to interrogate little old me, you can go out and take down that portal, right? If it's so magically unstable that, the whole world will crumble down. Who cares? It's fucking Netherstorm. Wait, I shouldn't be swearing.
So you admit to causing catastrophic damage to an entire planet, says voice number 4.
Actually, 2 planets, Outland and Azeroth.
Why are we even entertaining this individual, says voice number 2. Their guilt is obvious. Whoa, says voice number 5. Let's hear their own perspective out. I believe you wanted to say something, Mr. Bladebeard, says voice number 5.
I just wanted to say for the record, I was there to free a bunch of ogres from evil mummy people, which I succeeded in, and went back to Stormwind.
Ogres from Outland, says voice number 1.
They were from Stormwind and were stolen from Stormwind by mummy people, and then I went to the mummy people and I told them, give me the ogres back, and they give them back, and I gave them back, and then I went back to Stormwind.
So you were roped into the Outland debacle against your will, says voice number 5, yes? And voice number 4 says, that is a leading question. Do not answer that. Instead...
Should I answer it or not?
Voice number 4 instead will say, so tell us more about the mummy people, as you so term them, says voice number 4.
They're evil, they do experiments on people, and I think Lyri might be working with them.
You mean literally after we killed one of them like a couple days ago?
I mean, I'm wearing the one's crown I killed right now.
Above board yesterday.
Yeah, the Ethereals have kind of been trailing us and making experiments on people.
They
And,
were
like-
also involved in Booty Bay, right?
I believe we ought to discuss then where your loyalties lie specifically, Blood Oath. So are you an agent of the Horde, an agent of the Ethereals? Explain yourself. Subterfuge will not aid you in this chamber.
I do what I want when I want to do it. But as of right now, my loyalties are to Benjamin Aaran as per magical binding contract vow thing.
Voice number 5 says, so you would describe yourself as a mercenary then?
More like
A mercenary that would perhaps be of use to Aaran if it was willing to pay, and that would, say, not necessarily be beholden to the evil actions of... And she'll be, voice number 5 interrupted by voice number 3, you're leading once again.
Well, above all, I'm loyal to Benjamin Aaran because I cannot actually disobey him at all. So...
And what does Benjamin Aaran want then? Says voice number 2.
Well, I just want this whole mess to be over. I want to help the people I care about, and that's essentially it.
And if helping the people you care about would involve, say, causing a riot that would kill an amount of people in Stormwind on behalf of the Horde, would you do it? That is
No.
also a leading question, says voice number 3.
It was actually on behalf of Varian Ran.
Explain, says voice number 2.
Well, the person we were looking for was the bald headmaster behind the Stormwind conspiracy. And if those 80 bold people died, who knows how many people in Stormwind would have been killed by the demon hordes they would have unleashed.
That does not give you the authority to wantonly exact justice and hunt down innocent people, says voice number 1.
Well, I didn't want them killed. I just wanted them kind of, gathered up and, we could look through
The
them.
end result, though, is that people died.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh well.
But I think the point is that the Tortolan killed them, not Lyri.
She does not seem very contrite about this. In fact, she revels in the slaughter that she caused, says voice number 2. From our point of view, the guilt of the Tortolan is very much conflated with the guilt of this elf.
So if I tell Bud over here to say, look for 5, I don't know, people with mustaches, is it my fault if he kills them?
Yes,
Why?
Oh, why would I do that?
says voice number 2 says, because you knowingly sent an intimidating, fell-empowered ogre to gather up people with mustaches. Do you not believe that something bad would happen? Never mind someone afflicted by whatever she's going through, says voice number 2.
We didn't know that the Tortolan used that kind of magic. We just thought he was a turtle man.
Above board question. Did she order the Tortolan, and did she actually say that to just find bold people, not murder them?
Yeah, I don't think
no,
she asked to murder them. I'm pretty sure.
I believe she
I'm
told.
pretty sure she said to kill them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Oh, did you?
I don't think
Okay,
it was. Yeah, she told.
Yeah, she told them to kill them, but
Yeah.
you didn't tell her to tell the truth about the Tortolan, so she's lying.
All right. Just so I'm remembering correctly.
No, you are. I think I'm 99% sure she said kill bold people.
I don't remember who was present when Lyri gave that order. I think it might have
I
been
All of
think
us?
it was. I think it might have just been.
my
I
inst-
remember we were split up, but I'm pretty sure it was just her and Bud.
Yeah, my instinct
wrong.
says that it was Lyri alone, but I could be mistaken.
I'm pretty sure Larry and Bud was nearby, because then just after that we met Clovis, and I was like, oh, well, that was useless. But I mean, I could be wrong. But we'd have to rewatch the episode again, I guess.
I don't remember which episode it was, to be honest. I think probably the one before Tazinzi showed up, I guess. Anyway.
No, I think it's the one oh yeah. I think you're right.
Wouldn't it be episode after he showed up?
I don't remember why Lyri was in the jail to begin with. I think it was because she got captured for doing that, maybe?
She was captured when we were transporting Bud's ogres to the ship that exploded.
And that
Then
is
she
when-
was captured.
Yeah, but
Because
that,
I knocked her, Bladebeard knocked her out and then left her on the ground and she was arrested.
but wasn't that
Before
just after
that,
Clovis was
I
killed?
believe she ordered, or I don't know, I don't remember.
Whatever, it was around that point. We could probably find it for one too.
I don't remember what we were talking about like right now before this conversation.
I don't remember.
Benjamin asked something like, "Oh, is it wrong if I tell Bud, hey, collect people with mustaches?" And voice number 2 said, "Yeah, it would be wrong because so and so." I think that's where we left.
Yeah. Basically, Lyri is lying. All right.
Lyri's lying, but I'm not sure if other people know that she's lying. Yeah.
Have her roll.
Sure?
Sure.
Sneaky, right?
It would be.
5. It's a bad roll.
Yeah, I guess I'll roll to see. Okay. Voice number 2 does not realize you're lying. Yet. Okay. So, going back, voice number 2 just said, yeah, if you were to send Bud to collect mustache people, that would also be wrong because so and so.
Oh, Lyri said we didn't know he was a void.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Before. We just thought he was a random turtle.
Okay. Then I think voice number 2 would say, then describe how this conversation with the Tortolan went exactly.
We were on the lookout for Clovis, and the Tortolan proposed that he had, I guess, a lot of influence. He knew a lot of people. And I asked if they could look out for people with bald heads. And,
And I guess we'll follow the sneaky roll that we just did, and she will not suspect that. Yeah. Okay. Then voice number 3, I think, would say, so what did you know about this Tortolan before? Just that it dwelt in the sewers?
And that it was friends with Bladebeard, so, it must be a good friend, someone I can trust.
Above board, the question was addressed to the entire group, not just Lyri. Yeah. So how did you meet this individual? Asking Bladebeard. Voice number 3 does.
I used to live in Stormwind, and I no longer live there, but I visit the place from time to time. And
Because of the tax evasion, says voice number 1.
Nope. And yeah, one day I was in the tunnels and I came across him, and he said that he lives there and he knows the place and he can bring me anywhere I want to go in the tunnels.
And what were you doing in the tunnels, says voice number 3. Smuggling?
No.
Voice number 5 says, the tunnels of Stormwind are not exactly forbidden to the public. Voice number 2 then says, no, but there's little reason honest individuals would head there, I would think.
We were tasked to uproot this, fell cult by Variant.
We're not talking about that, says voice number 2, though we might get into it. We're talking about Mr. Bladebeard's initial friendship with the Tortolan. How did that occur?
I believe I was like a teenager back then, and I was playing with my friends like hide and seek, and that's when I first met him.
Would this be true, DoomGoblin?
Sure.
Okay.
Tortolans can be like ancient.
Yeah, true. Wait, a teenager. I have to.
We don't have information about how dwarves age.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking
wouldn't
how.
that be before the destruction of
Yeah,
Stormwind?
that's what I was thinking.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, the tunnels are from back then, so makes
Yeah, they are.
sense.
But I guess in character for confirmation would say, voice number 1 would say, you mean before the First War?
Oh, way before.
The assembled shadows seem to be sharing concerned looks with each other, like, oh, this weird void Tortolan person was connected to Stormwind since way then. They seem concerned about that. But voice number 5 then says, so no smuggling, no tax evasion, as my colleagues and your friend over there, Bud, put it, in the tunnels of Stormwind?
Listen, I am...
We know that you're a pirate, as you proudly proclaim yourself.
Well, pirate can mean a lot of things.
It could also mean perhaps someone of a more mercenary nature that can be useful to Aaran. You're leading again, says voice number 3. Do not answer that question, says voice number 3. Seems that voice number 3 continues, 2 of my colleagues are incessantly biased, although in opposite directions.
I don't know what to do. You're giving me conflicting orders.
Voice number 4 says, then let us talk about something else that was said about you by your friends, about what I don't remember which because I didn't write this down, about trying to enslave a dragon. Would you care to elaborate, Mr. Bladebeard?
Enslave a dragon?
Yeah, what is this about?
I did try to there was like a dragon that I tried to
on the ship.
tame to be my pet, but he wouldn't have it. He basically said no and spat fire on me and flew away.
Did you not realize, says voice number 4, that dragons are intelligent creatures, arguably more intelligent than us mortals, and that you would be basically trying to enslave a sentient being?
He didn't seem intelligent. Maybe his old master didn't really treat him well, and
Old master? Explain.
Yeah, it was that orc captain, right?
Yeah, the horde ship we destroyed.
He was a pet of an orc captain.
A dragon orc, says voice number 4.
Very likely.
It still would not have been advisable to try to enslave someone who was already enslaved, says voice number 4. Voice number 5 says, well, I believe we can prescribe that to ignorance rather than malice. Not an excuse, says voice number 4, but perhaps.
If I had known that it was an intelligent creature, I would have talked to it, but it didn't talk. It only was screaming and spitting fire. Maybe it wasn't a dragon.
Correct me if I'm wrong, says voice number 1, but did you not previously meet dragons, like our mutual friend Kairi Gosa, says voice number 1?
Yes, but she's a different dragon. She can turn into people and talk.
Believe most dragons can do that. Only very young ones cannot. Are you implying that you were trying to enslave a child? You're leading, says voice number 3. Whoa, I would not argue that this is leading. I would argue that this is what the dwarf is saying.
I did not try to enslave a child.
Then what did
The only
you do?
enslaving they did was send a goblin to the Ethereals.
Then let's talk about that. What was all of that about, says voice number 2.
Nothing. I only freed slaves from Ethereals. I didn't sell them any.
Then why would you bring it up? Why would she bring it up, rather?
Because she is evil, void-corrupted blood elf.
I believe she said that a crown is preventing the voices from talking to her at this point, says voice number 5.
Well, the voices are not the only thing evil about her. Even without them, she's enemy of life itself.
I just find it amusing.
Then
to-
please explain, says voice number 2, addressing Lyri, what you meant by selling a goblin to the Ethereals.
Well, it's just hearsay from what I've heard from the other members of my crew, but I've heard a bit from my companions about how they may have given a goblin to an ethereal.
Alright, then explain... Benjamin Aaran, was it? You explain what happened, says voice number 2.
Oh god, I don't even remember the context properly to explain it.
The goblin impressed the ethereal, so then he took him, and he thought
Yeah,
that you guys owned him for some reason.
It happened in episode 2, so yeah. Goblin attacked the Ethereal because it was a bruiser and was freaked out. Ethereal was impressed by it, captured it, and asked you guys, hey, can I buy him off of you? And Bladebeard and maybe Bud said, yeah, sure. And Benjamin pretended not to notice.
Well, as far as I remember, the ethereal captured the goblin himself, and Bladebeard just took the chance to take some money for himself, I suppose.
Piracy is one thing, says voice number 1. We have dealt with pirates before, but engaging in slavery is an entirely different thing.
No, I didn't do that. I admit I didn't do enough to save the goblin, and I regret that, but I did not sell him, or I should have tried to save him from the mummy people, and when I saw what they did with him, I think that will haunt me for the rest of my days. But we did put him out of his misery. He was turned into an awful abomination, and we freed more slaves that they took. And I know it's not the best outcome, but at least we fixed something.
We wouldn't have been able to free all those slaves if we didn't cause some trouble in the Netherstorm.
Are you implying that when you this is voice number 4, caused trouble in the Netherstorm, as you so kindly put it, you were thinking long term about destabilizing the evil reign of the Ethereals and freeing their slaves?
Well, more so that our friend's ogre clan was being kept as slaves by the Ethereals, and we wanted them back.
And by Stormwind first, because there was an unsupervised slave ring under Stormwind.
Oh yeah, and the Ethereals and the Ethereals are taking part in the underground Stormwind slave trade. Note that one down as well.
We are aware of the crimes, this is voice number 2, of Amelia Wishak, but we explained the connection of the Ethereals to that particular smuggling ring.
There was also Lady Whitley and Cleopatra.
Yeah,
Am I remembering well?
I above board misremembered. She would have said Lady Whitley, not Wishak. Wishak is someone else. My bad.
But they were dealt with. They faced justice of Stormwind.
We are aware. My question was, what is the connection of the Ethereals to this?
They took them after we freed them from Whitley. And then we freed them from the Ethereals as well.
So they're not connected directly?
I don't think so, no. Well, the Ethereals were doing something with the
Brawlers Guild, right?
underground arena. thing that
they was-
ogres were participating in.
They were sponsoring the ring and taking the best fighters to be turned into mechanical automatons.
Willingly or
I don't think.
But were
willingly.
you willingly fighting in the ring?
No.
I guess not.
voice number 5 would chime in and say, "Oh, precisely, given the nature of many of the fighters in the Brawlers Guild, we cannot call any such ethereal sponsorships willing." And you claim to have put a stop to it, says voice number 2.
Yeah, we at least like put a dent in it.
We defeated Nexus Lord. Nexus Lord with a crown, but there's his boss still.
The Viceroy.
Yeah, Roy.
This is me laughing, not them.
I feel like Khadgar would laugh if he's there.
Well, the wisdom ball is there, even though you're told not to bring it.
Oh, whoops.
Voice number 1 would say, "I do have a question about the first point, specifically about this initial point of contact. We have two, I would not say perhaps opposed, but differing testimonies, so I would hear a third. Mr. Morg, Bud, can you tell us what happened to this goblin that perhaps was sold to the Ethereals or not? As in how that happened?"
Trying to remember. I remember there was a goblin, and he was yelling at us, I think, something or other. I don't really remember the situation of how it happened. And then I remember the mummy men showing up and taking him away, and making him all machinery and terrifying, and you know what they do a lot with people.
But how
later,
did the
so-
specifically, do you remember anything about how the taking away part happened?
I don't remember the details really, if I'm being honest. Just remember the Ethereals wanted him, and they were asking us, and I don't remember really like the exchanges or whatever. But
So there was an exchange, says voice number 1.
Maybe. I don't really remember it, if I'm being honest.
But what is this, Banrak not remembering or Morg not remembering?
Both.
Fair. Voice number 1 would say, so perhaps although your actions wound up for the better, your initial point of contact came from a highly corrupt moment. Voice number 5 says, perhaps we should focus on the fact that their actions wound up for the better, and though one life was perhaps sacrificed, so many more were spared by them dismantling this ring of slavery. I do not believe that is a satisfactory excuse, says voice number 1.
I admit it. We maybe should have acted sooner. Instead, we just watched as
Acted
as a
sooner,
goblin.
says voice number 1. Those two, pointing at Benjamin and Bud, are implying there was an active exchange happening.
We talked with the mummies and didn't do anything about them stealing a goblin, yeah?
This is voice number 3, I think 3 would say this. Say hypothetically that your version of events was the correct one, Mr. Bladebeard. Why wouldn't you do more in that situation?
Because I'm a bad person? Is that what you want me to say?
I'm not asking you to incriminate yourself. I'm asking to see what happened in that specific moment.
I'm in Booty Bay. There's a lot of bad business happening, and usually the best thing is to
Not
not
slavery,
get involved.
says voice number 1.
Usually the best thing is to not get involved with
What was that?
what? Was there something on my end?
Yeah, there was like a boing sound.
This is Brand.
Oh, probably my phone.
Boing.
Funny enough, the viewers may not have heard it because there would be background music playing at this point.
It's funny to talk about slavery then.
Voice number 3 says, I see. Voice number 1 says, again, I reiterate, though there are plenty of bad things going on in Booty Bay, and indeed it would be often best not to stick your nose in other people's business, slavery is on an entirely different level. Voice number 5 would say, I would also reiterate that while this initial point of contact was debatable, the end result for Azeroth was for the better.
So, everyone here can agree that slavery is always bad and unforgivable.
Aren't you a slave?
Correct?
Explain that latter point, says voice number 2.
No, I just wanted,
Voice number 2 is asking Bladebeard.
Oh, I mean, who is she not a slave of? She's a slave of the Void and of Benjamin Aaran.
Yes, that part. What's that about? Says voice number 1.
You're gonna have to ask him. I know a lot of things.
We've been talking
Not about
it.
magic, though. I don't understand magic at all. I don't know where we are, who are you, and why is everything so weird around us.
We were talking about it this entire time.
And it's finally time to address it, says voice number 4. Continue. How are you enslaving that one? Asking Benjamin.
Well, in that place where some of us here fought Archmage Danubius, there was some sort of void outbreak moments earlier, and as a way to stop it, Lyri tried to absorb this void entity, which sort of led her to go out of control. And to save the situation, I used this book that we had retrieved from Danubius's house.
The Tome of Argaleus, says voice number 5.
Maybe, I'm not really sure on the terminology there. So the only way to stop the void creature / Lyri from rampaging was to bind it, essentially.
And I was not under... Okay, so I was not out of control. They came in at a really bad time as I was absorbing this creature to stop it from attacking people. And they kind of got the wrong idea. And
If anyone knows how to break this, I'll gladly take it.
No, do not break it, because I mean, if you can't trust me, you can trust Benjamin, right? And he can control
That remains
me.
to be seen, says voice number 2.
Well, he's a trustworthy guy, trust me. And even if I unleash the void, so to say, he can control me even in that state. So it's an invaluable tool and very good. And it's not slavery. I could ask him to stop, and I have not asked him, so it's not slavery.
Let us discuss... Go ahead.
Lyri's just gonna say that it's okay.
Let us discuss this void outbreak more, says voice number 2. So you admit to trying to absorb it? Are you so blind as to not realize the dangers of the void after having them inhabit you for so long?
Well, this. Okay, so this blind elf was in the waiting room, I believe. That's what the area is called, I think.
Yeah.
And they had with them someone I knew from Stormwind. They were an SI7 member, they were mute. And I walked over to say hello to them, and they talked, which I thought was odd. So I interacted with this.
SI7 members are known to hide their capabilities. This is not surprising, says voice number 1.
Well, I thought I knew this person, and they were mute. And I don't see any reason why someone would pretend to be mute. But they were talking now, and I thought that was odd. So I was standing around, talking with the elf to figure out what was going on, and they were really interested in this fountain. So I stuck around to see what was going to happen,
And you purposefully destabilized it? Says voice number 2.
No.
Rather, it seems they destabilized it by their ignorance, says voice number 3.
I wanted to see what was going on. I couldn't just attack a random person on the street because I have a bad feeling about them. And it turns out they were a member of Void Person, and they're still probably in Aaran. They sent me a sending spell pretty recently. So I assume they're still in the city. They created this big void monster. I tried to kill it, and I did, but stuff was still going down, and it started going out of control, and I was afraid it would kill people. So I decided to absorb it, because with this crown, I can control all the void in my head, and that would save people's lives.
Are you implying that if we were to let you go free, we'd have to glue that thing to your head?
No, because I'm pretty sure that even if I take it off, Benjamin can still control me.
I mean, maybe gluing it to your head is not such a bad idea.
Let's test this out. Take off the helmet.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I mean, do you want me to, Benjamin?
Not really, but up to you and the council, I suppose.
Voice number 2 says, we'll take any measures necessary to defeat whatever may come out, but we cannot guarantee Lyri's safety in the process.
But why would you need to defeat it? I mean, it worked previously.
Because we do not trust you, to be frank. Also, Zelryn, feel free to give me a clever to see what would happen if I were to take off my crown. Like regarding the Benjamin holding you. Yeah.
3.
Hard to tell what could happen. For free. You could improve your roll if you want.
I will not.
Okay.
Lyri just shrugs. Well, I mean, it's up to you. If you think it'd improve our standing, then I'll do it. And if you don't, then I won't do it.
Benjamin can also give me a clever, but he's less likely to know.
Yeah, I can go for it, but I doubt I'll get better than a 3. Yeah.
Should work. Voice number 2 says, go on, prove that even without that ridiculous crown, you would be safe, perfectly safe.
Benjamin, just give me a command to not hurt anyone. Thank you.
Alright. You will stay still. You will not attack or hurt anyone.
Lyri will take the crown off.
And immediately you are bombarded by the voices of the void urging you to do things, and the very, very malignant presence of the massive void entity you absorbed that instantly tries to take over your body. How do you defend yourself?
I Oh Jesus! And +8. Was it that powerful back when we fought it? I guess it might have been. I don't remember.
I think it was more.
More than a +8? No way. I guess since Lyri was, I guess, expecting the voices to immediately come back, she kind of is prepared to quickly flood her mind with positive affirmations, like the ones she used back in season 2.
What you're describing is careful, not quick.
Yeah, you're right. That's a terrible roll as well. I guess just doing the affirmations normally, I guess.
Forceful or clever.
No, clever, let's do it.
Okay, how do you take 3 points of damage?
I'll take a free stress.
All of you see Lyri is struggling, like she doubles over in pain, and if you were disguising yourself as a pale-skinned elf, your disguise would revert to being a voidy elf. Get ready to subdue her, says voice number 2, and the Teeironor get ready to cast spells. You guys have a window to intervene.
Benjamin would tell Lyri to put the crown back on.
Give me a forceful, Lyri, to see if you can.
Okay, let's see. 0.
No, not at this point. And you realize, yeah, sure, Benjamin may command you to not hurt people, but Benjamin doesn't command the void. That was the clever roll that I had you guys roll previously.
Interesting.
You want me to put it back on her?
Maybe that's for the better. Can I assist, Bud? Oh, is it my turn?
I think what we ought to do is, Bud, you roll a quick to like have it put back on Lyri's head. Benjamin will assist Bud, as he has said, though I would ask how, Benjamin.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and after that, I will roll to oppose, okay?
I was just... Maybe I should be with the one trying to put it in her head since it's so quick, and Bud would help me. Maybe that would be a little more effective.
You can do that, sure.
I mean, I was gonna suggest that Moorg just like holds her down, then that.
Yeah, maybe that's the assist. Yeah, you hold her down, and I can just run in and put it in her head.
I think for context, maybe this will help. Lyri picked up the crown, then she doubled over in pain. I think she's clutching the crown like clearly in pain, if that makes sense, like gripping it tightly. She's clearly trying to put it on her head, but there's like her muscles are resisting her.
Then why is it a quick for Bud? Would it need to be a forceful to force the crown on her head?
It can be. The quick part is to get there in time.
Oh, okay. Then the one who...
Oh, I thought that we were right next to each other.
You're close to each other, but this is
Okay.
happening in a couple seconds span.
So the quick is just for the main person, or is it for both of us?
Whomever's trying to put the crown on.
Okay, then Bud, I guess.
All right.
Okay, then give me a quick Bud. You have Benjamin's assist. I'll roll to oppose, okay?
Okay.
No.
I mean, if it goes bad, I could always use a fate.
I mean... Yeah, maybe you should.
You have a 2 to
Alright.
a 2, the void's free.
What would be a very good aspect to even use in this case? In the context of this, either pirate or former warlord, and the
If-
only way I could see.
If you can think of a way to use it, you also have disorienting landscape as a scene aspect that you can use, if you can justify it, of course.
I mean, she's already pretty disoriented, I guess, in general right now, if that makes any sense. But, I mean, the few ideas that I have is, he's, for former warlord, he's fought plenty of elves before, so, like, in this case, it'd be hunting them down and stopping them. But
Macabre,
that's
but I think it works. Dark, but it works.
it works. It's dark, but yeah, that was the
instead
other one in the...
of pulling their heads out, you're putting helmets in.
Yeah. You're doing that, Banner?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take your fate point and yeah, accept you get there in time. But I would like to compel you the same aspect, former warlord, that yeah, your instinct at this point is to rip Lyri's head off, not put the crown back on.
Should have kept my mouth shut.
Yeah, I'm going to. I have a lot of fate points. I will lose that fate point.
Okay.
I ain't doing that.
Okay.
Morg is not in a bloodthirsty mood right now.
Sure. You get there in time, but you see like purple energies oozing out of Lyri. You see that she's clearly in a lot of pain, starting to lose control over herself. You know you need to put the crown back on, and you can deduce that you have only a couple seconds to do so. What do you do?
Yeah, Morg would grab that crown and put it on her head.
Okay, give me a forceful and I will oppose.
Alright.
3 to a 5.
Wasn't there supposed... Oh wait, is it only the assist from Benjamin in terms of like the catch?
Also, by the way, we haven't established what Benjamin's assist consists of, so what's that about, Thompshire?
I don't know, kind of like helping hold her down or something? Oh, no, I mean, she isn't. Good question. I guess I'd help Bud. I mean, depending on how he grabs onto the helmet, or maybe I'll...
Well, I'm talking about
like,
the assist of helping Bud get there.
Oh, is it maybe the fact that I am quicker kind of like diverts the void's attention? Does that make sense?
Maybe he's also running, and because of that, Bud wants to be faster than him. I don't know.
It's a rivalry.
That's funny. That's funny.
It's a stretch. Thompshire, I'll be honest, it's a stretch.
I'm gonna have to maybe use another... Well, I do have my birth inspiration,
Well,
and I do have the...
I will say, like, if we established, oh, Thompshire's Benjamin's assist didn't actually happen, Morg still would get to Lyri, and like the previously spent fate point is not wasted. It's just that I'll have to think of a negative consequence to inflict on you guys.
Yeah,
I
don't
mean,
like that.
I don't think not being able to do it this turn is the end of the world.
Okay, what if the assist is like that Benjamin takes off and that kind of like sparks Bud to like, oh shit, I gotta get there.
Okay, yeah, that works, okay. And I think the assist would then carry over, Banrak, to answer your previous question, onto this latest forceful roll too. Okay, so you have a 4 to a 5.
Okay. Well, if I do a fate point, won't it be just...
No, do not do a fate point.
No, it won't be. It would be 2. More.
Just one.
No, just one.
Why would it be 2?
Do not do a fate point. That's a bad idea.
Do not do a fate point?
It's not the end of the world if we fail this first roll.
Yes, it is. It will get worse. It will get worse.
I mean, though, I'm not trying to give the DM ideas, but I when I assume the worst, I assume the worst. You know.
You probably should. We're like in front of super mages. I don't think we want bad things to happen. But I mean,
well, that's not what I'm thinking. That's going to be bad that happens. I'm thinking of something else.
But if Bud is easily compellable, someone would be like, "Oh, Bud, eat the Council of Six," and he'd be like, "Okay."
Banrak. Here's a little neutral snippet, like an opportunity to peer into my mind. Can I get a clever from you, Banrak, to determine what would happen if I don't immediately put this helmet back on Lyri?
Alright. I got a 1.
Yeah, you got a 1. So that's that opportunity gone, I guess. Okay, so getting back to the 4 to 5 roll of your forceful to put the crown back on Lyri's head. What do you do?
I see, like, in my opinion, from you asking me to do that roll, I think it's even more imperative to do it now because you asked me to do that roll. So that's my logic.
What about reverse psychology?
I don't believe in it. Not in this situation, Zelryn. Ooh, okay. So I gotta use another fate point.
Or your birthday inspiration.
Or my birthday inspiration, but I want to save that sucker for, I don't know, something
next year.
very important. Not that this isn't important, but okay. So we got the demon. Ooh, you know, I guess the demon within. I want to argue this, and this could be a very bad argument, or it could be a very good argument. So Morg knows exactly what Zelryn's going. Not Zelryn.
Wait,
Lyri's going through.
I have a question before you say this.
Okay.
Since we discovered the Lyri's Void's aspects, don't you get like a free use of it?
The person who discovered it does, which I believe it was either it probably was Lyri. Yeah, it was Lyri. Yeah, so Lyri gets a free invoke on it.
Oh, and I can't pass that on, can I?
You can if you want to.
I will pass that to Bud. I'm pretty sure it's the
Artificial
concept?
Ethereal Infusion of
Yeah.
Void Energy.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I discovered. Because I think I've had more and more for ages.
Hmm?
So I will pass that on to Moa.
More do you use
So
this?
yeah.
Okay. You use this free invoke, and I clicked the wrong thing. My bad. And you struggle to pull this crown from Lyri's grip, and if like in the instant that you touch her fingers, her fingers are abnormally cold, almost glacial. You eventually pull it off, but you feel this strength that was holding the crown in place is not Lyri's natural strength, not by any means. Do you now put the crown back on Lyri's head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would give a very disturbed face at someone, opposing his natural ogre strength, especially since he doubled in his strength since eating the Fell Lord. So, yeah, he would have a very disturbed look on his face, and after, pulling the crown from Lyri and putting it back on her head.
Yeah. You put the crown back on Lyri. Lyri, the voices and the pain almost instantly vanish. You still feel very, very cold, and there's still some leftover pain.
Yeah,
but
I guess Lyri just kind of slumps the floor for a second.
understandably so. But for the moment, you are safe.
Hooray.
You realize this does
that
not...
was-
Good.
That was a lot.
You realize this does not do you any favors, right? Says voice number 2. This display. No reaction? No reply?
Larry's still
I-
kind of
I-
on the floor, so no.
Voice number 2 addresses Benjamin and says, so you have proven that your control over Lyri is superfluous at best, and that the danger is ever more present. Voice number 5 says, maybe we really should glue that thing to her head.
I concur, honestly.
I was being sarcastic.
I'm not.
That thing is pretty powerful, Benjamin. I was kind of struggling to get that out of her hands. It's pretty bad.
Him. That could have gone better, but I mean, look on the bright side, I didn't lose control.
Barely, and only because all of your friends were here to stop you. Let's say for whatever reason, this is voice number 2, you were for whatever reason separated from Benjamin, who thus couldn't tell you, don't take your hat off. Let's say for whatever reason, I don't know, you trip momentarily and it accidentally falls off of your head. And thus you unleash a minor disaster and wipe out a town. Do you not see the danger?
Well, we came here for a reason.
And what was your reason?
To get rid of it?
Voice number 5 says, as we've said, one of our best is working hard on solving a similar void issue with your friend Shallan, and there still hasn't been a solution yet, and I'm not certain that the solution for Shallan will be the same solution as for you.
Well, like how I absorbed that void monstrosity in the waiting room, maybe I could take the thing from Shallan. And then there's only one void thing to worry about.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Leaving aside whether that would work or not, says voice number 2, do you not understand the danger of taking more void energy into yourself? You're barely able to hold on now, and only for a couple seconds. Who knows what would have happened if your friend wasn't here to rip the crown from your possessed fingers and push it back on your head?
Lyri shrugs. Well, the people here who do worse than wipe out towns, and they don't have any void things in their head, so...
Explain, says voice number 2.
I mean, you heard us talk about it. Probably, right?
Perhaps, but I would hear it from your own lips.
Well, I wasn't there. All I know is what other people have told me. But, you know, I hear that an island perhaps happened, and, you know, that was pretty bad.
And we will discuss it, certainly. But one step at a time, I believe. Do not think that we have forgotten.
Well, I can't be that dangerous if there's more dangerous people than me in this room, right?
From my personal point of view, all of you are dangerous. In fact, to be perfectly frank, I'm currently debating whether the Wild Hold is even a valid option, and perhaps it might be better to execute you all on the spot, to be perfectly honest.
You have vampires and squid people there, so I don't know.
And all
yeah,
of
but they have seemingly Embersorrow in this room right now, so you know, one's clearly worse than the other.
voice number 3 says, I do not believe my colleague was joking. I'm starting to believe it as well, that perhaps your group is more dangerous than what we have in the Wild Hold.
Well, if we're that dangerous, then maybe
we
should be friends with us.
Exactly, says voice number 5. Why dispose of a weapon if we can put it to use? Even if it doesn't, says voice number 5, sign specific papers when they're asked to.
Benjamin told me not to sign them.
What papers, says voice number 3. Voice number 5 says, nothing, a passing whimsy. So, tell us more about what happened on this island, says voice number 5.
There was
We-
this doomsday cult sacrificing people into a volcano, and there was Naga too and the sort, and as usual, we get involved in weird things, so we killed the Naga.
But there wasn't really a doomsday cult. That was, well, kinda
Yeah, it
was.
was. They were sacrificing people so that the volcano didn't explode.
Oh, you're trying to paint the people you killed as a doomsday cult. Okay, now I'm getting.
no, the ogres were a doomsday cult, were they not?
Kinda. The ogres and the gnomes together, yeah, kinda.
Yeah. Am I lying? No.
No, but okay. fair
I'm
enough.
getting there. Let
You're
me
painting them in a very.
Let me go.
Okay, carry on.
Where was I?
There was this doomsday cult on the island that was sacrificing people, and there were also Naga. That's where you left off.
And well, as usual, we get involved in weird things because we have the worst luck in the world. So we dispatched the Naga there, and the culty business, and we then, went about our way, leaving the island. At which point, the volcano exploded, and a massive fire elemental showed up and started destroying the island.
That's not what your friend Morg said about how the island was exploded on purpose to perpetrate a genocide. To quote your friend Morg directly, says voice number 2.
But why?
Why indeed, Mr. Bladebeard? You're the one your friend Morg was accusing of this.
Alright. So, Morg is a ogre with a very bad memory and a demon inside of him. Demon who hates me because I split his girlfriend's skull by grabbing her by the horns and, splitting her skull because she was also a demon. And he made the whole thing up.
Did not seem that way when he was talking to what he believed to be Bladebeard. He was only a
It wasn't Bladebeard.
Gary face bombs.
Tell us what really happened, Mr. Bladebeard, says voice number 2. And do not believe that the Teeironor are mere fools that you can deceive so readily.
I don't believe you're fools. You believed Danubius, that I'm an awful, evil monster.
And the vast majority of Danubius's claims have been dismissed, have they not? Have we in this meeting accused you of, say, interfering with an official Teeironor investigation or aiding the Horde as Danubius accused you of doing? No, we have only asked you about items that you or your friends have brought up, or that we know from various other sources such as Nisa's report, for instance.
Well,
I'm sorry. I mean, Bladebeard is very stupid and reckless, but what reason does he have to?
That's what we'd like to
slaughter?
find out.
I did not burn an island. I didn't want to burn an island. Why would I want to burn an island?
Nobody said anything about burning.
But the island was burned.
Interesting terminology. Carry on.
There was a fire elemental, a living flame, and it just destroyed the whole place. We tried to save as many people.
Intentionally destroyed it because you released it to genocide the cultures on the island, as your friend Morg said.
That is incorrect. Pure fiction.
So we have Morg's account. Mrs. Lyri was not there. And you are... What are you even implying? Says the voice number 2 asks Benjamin that this was What are you even implying happened?
I mean, I don't know. That's exactly my point. First, we were leaving the island, then a giant elemental shows up and starts blowing up everything.
So you claim ignorance.
I suppose?
We are certainly aware that the islands of Lapidus and Gilligim are no more. That is readily apparent simply by the most basic of scrying. But now we...
And if I may, if Bladebeard intentionally wanted to, as you say, genocide the inhabitants of the island, why would he take
we are
in
not the
survivors?
we're not the ones claiming that. It is Morg who is claiming that.
Well, I'm just bringing up this, well, seemingly inconsistency here.
Morg is controlled by a demon who hates me.
What? I'm not controlled by a demon.
We should probably bring up that Bladebeard has a voice in his head that he never stops talking about.
Explain, says voice number 3.
Well, Bladebeard always says he has a voice in his head, and he says this voice can tell him where people are, and I didn't believe it at first, but he's really good at finding me, so I don't know if that's real or not. He also once held the Xanatap dagger that I held, so maybe...
Yeah,
Maybe-
So
maybe
you
his voice
so you
sounded
admit
like
to
me.
having held the dagger, asking Lyri.
Yeah, I held
Did-
it when I destroyed it. I
You
took it
you did
from-
not destroy it. It is in the possession of the Kirin Tor. As you remember.
Well, I
drained
turned
it.
I drained it. I turned it off.
You
for,
did no such thing.
Well, I made all of Zolgalga's minions disappear, is what I mean.
Not by draining the dagger, certainly.
What?
If-
Then why did I even do it then?
Good question.
Back to the matter at hand, if it's any indication, what did those metal guys call you, Bladebeard?
Metal guys?
Yeah, your
Your metal
dwarf
man.
friends that are made of metal.
Oh. What did they call me? I don't know. Captain?
Wasn't it something designate or something like that?
I think he designated them as his crewmates or something. I don't know. But my point.
Robots. Benjamin is talking about robots that I have working for me.
My point is, how can you not trust Bud if he has a demon in his head when I
What
have a void
do-
in my head and Bladebeard also has something in his head? We all have stuff in our head apart from
One step at a time.
I have nothing in my head.
One step at a time, says voice number 1. What does you having robots have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Because the robots listen to his orders. That's not normal, right? Aren't they like people or something?
Robots are not people.
Not
They're-
robots, but they look like dwarves, but they're made of metal. Like
Earthen, says voice number 3. Voice number 4 says no. Iron dwarves, perhaps? That sounds unlikely, says voice number
they
1.
said they could be repaired in Northrend, so maybe.
There's a pause. Voice number 5 says, and where did you acquire something like that?
Wait,
Best
I had a
fall?
dream. I had a dream.
I'm sorry.
When we went on the gambling ship, I had a dream of Bladebeard with cogs. And he hangs around robots. So, there's some kind of robot thing going on with him. I'm not sure if he's a robot or something, but there's robots involved.
I don't think I'm a robot.
You're a robot?
Please answer the question of how did you acquire these robots, as you term them, Mr. Bladebeard, says voice number
wha-
4.
2 of them I got on in Westfall, and the other two on the island, Gilligam, or the other one. I don't know.
Westfall, says voice number 3.
Yes, they were in the possession of Lord Roswell and his Void Legion, whatever was going on.
Nisa did inform us about that, though she did not say anything about the Void. With Lord Roswell, I mean.
Well, they were using Shallan for some weird things, so...
Like a battery or something.
Yeah, wasn't there a gnome too that you told me about? Like a
Board, yeah.
void
Mhm.
gnome?
Yeah, there was.
Seems that Nisa's report is incomplete, says voice number 1.
Well, Meridia was there, I suppose you could... Well, maybe not. Whatever.
I would ask, says voice number 3, since we have to investigate every claim, what is this about a voice inside Bladebeard's head?
He has a voice in his head, and it apparently tells him where I am. And I had a dream where he was with Cogs, and he talks to robots.
And Mr. Bladebeard, you deny this.
Yes.
Mr. Benjamin and Mr. Morg, says this is voice number 3 speaking.
He does have a voice in his head, as far as I know.
I never heard it.
It showed up when he died.
Oh yeah, he died.
I never died.
I killed you.
You hurt me very badly, but I didn't die.
I blew up a barrel of explosives right underneath you.
Yeah, and I was lucky to survive.
Why would you have done that? Says voice number 1, asking Lyri regarding the explosive bit.
There was a monster on the ship, and it was killing everyone, so I went below deck and moved a bunch of explosives underneath it and blew it up, and for some reason Bladebeard was riding it. I mean, he's like a weird ladies man, I don't know what's going on.
The monster was male, but sure. Voice number 1 says, Mr. Moore, we have not heard your opinion. Does Mr. Bladebeard have a voice inside his head or not?
I mean, I don't think so. Do you have a voice in your head?
My own?
That
I
counts.
guess not then.
That counts.
Voice number 3 says, then, Mr. Benjamin, Ms. Lyri, why do you believe that Mr. Bladebeard has a voice inside his head?
Because he talks about it all the time, and he says he can use it to find people, and
to know things.
And to know things also, but mainly to find me. He somehow always knows where I am, so over time I've come to believe it.
Alright, I'll prove I don't know where Lyri is at
for,
all times.
for what it's worth, I don't believe it's necessarily dangerous. It's kind of helpful.
But my point is, if you can't trust Bud's testimony because he has a voice in his head, you can't trust Bladebeard's either.
We never said anything about distrusting Morg's testimony.
But Bladebeard did.
What say you, Mr. Bladebeard, to their claims? Says voice number 3. Voice number 2 says, I don't believe this is a relevant matter. This is clearly just sailors' talk. But nevertheless, sailors' talk that we should investigate, says voice number 3. Continue.
Which claim? That I have a voice in my head?
That one, yes.
I do not have a voice in my head other than my own.
And what?
And sometimes, I believe Kyrie Gosas, she did talk to me in my head.
voice number 4 says, well, everyone, it's clear that we're just dealing with a lunatic. Can we move on? Voice number 3 says, so what do you say about their claims that you can find Lyri wherever she is, or that you know things because of the voice? Is this really worth investigating? Says voice number 1. This will be my final question and then we can move on, says voice number 3.
I am a very skilled individual. I don't do magics, but I can find people in other ways, and I know things because I know things. I travel a lot. I hear a lot of stories. I am a very experienced adventurer.
So you are claiming that this voice... Didn't you say that this was your final question? Interrupts voice 1. Voice number 3 says, I did, but I'm asking another one. So you're saying that this is just your inner monologue, as they call it.
What's a monologue?
Your own thoughts, says voice number 2.
Yes. I can sometimes hear my own voice in my head. I can listen, you're hearing me now, but can you hear me now?
Yes.
Wait, you heard that?
You heard? Yes, we heard you say, but can you hear me now? Yes.
But you didn't hear me when I spoke in my head without my mouth opening.
The voice number 3 sighs and says, I believe we can move on from this matter.
You definitely didn't hear that.
This is me laughing, not them. Alright then. I would ask you, this is voice number 4, I think, asking Morg. Do you often lash out at people, eat people, go on rampages?
Not often, no.
Does he have the cannon in the courtroom?
It was not taken away from him, so...
Just a funny image.
Well, that is not what the information that we have says. Above board, I don't remember which one of you said it. It might have been Morg himself who said that.
Yeah, you asked about teething people's heads.
Yeah. That is not what you said earlier. Then voice number 4 would say. Voice number 5 would say, well, he also said that he mostly does it to blood elves, did he not? Proving that I believe he would be a useful addition to our endeavor. You've made your point clear enough, says voice number 2. I'm still not convinced. Answer the question, says voice number 4.
Can you repeat the question?
Something about you eating heads.
Do you go on
I don't do
rampage?
that anymore.
I mean, you ate a Fell Lord.
Well, that was out of survival and compulsion. Words. I felt like I had to do it. There wasn't really like a,
You realize
choice in the matter.
You realize that is not a valid excuse, says voice number 3.
Well, he has a popcorn bucket now, so he shouldn't have to do
I
it
have
again.
popcorn. Magical popcorn.
Back to my question, size voice number 4. Would you describe as you described yourself previously, that you go on rampages, eat people, lash out at people? Do you have anything to say to
No.
that, as you've previously described yourself?
I said I did those things sometimes, but not all the time.
Normal people don't sometimes go on rampages. They
I
don't
do.
sometimes murder people. You are not normal,
do.
says voice number 2.
I don't murder people, I fight people, and that's what I do, but I don't kill people all the time or get mad all the time. I'm not mad right now.
But if hypothetically I would start insulting your ancestors, start calling you weak, you would be willing to rip my head off, wouldn't you? says voice number 4. Voice number 3 says, that is a leading question.
He wouldn't.
I don't do that. You'd have to like
You
kill
have,
my friend or
you have
something.
previously
to get me
said
that back.
yourself that you do that. You're contradicting your own testimony.
What did I say that I said?
You described how you have gone on rampages, how you've killed a Blood Oath crew, how you've eaten people, how you've lashed out at people. This even before the whole demon business. Now, with the demon, who knows what you're capable of? Says voice number 4.
Well, you can see me right now. I'm good.
For now.
I did those things, but I don't do them often, and I control myself. I'm very good at it, I think.
For now you are. I see no reason to believe that you will continue being stable. Voice number 2 says, the way I see it, two of the people in front of me are unstable at best. One of them is actively genocidal, and one of them is assisting by either ignorance or simply not knowing better. Says voice number 2.
Okay.
I believe all of you should simply be, if not executed on the spot, thrown into the violet hole and never seen again.
Why me? What did I do?
Did you forget the part where you intentionally destroyed an island and genocided its people?
No, I didn't do that.
Enslaved a child at that? Sold also a goblin into slavery? Says voice number 1.
I didn't do any of those things.
You've admitted to them.
I did not.
Well, hear me out. Okay, so we're bad. I mean, listen. Who cares?
You asked the stewards of magic on Azeroth who cares about magical mishaps, says voice number 1.
Yeah?
Ignoring that point, that's only aimed at being contentious, says voice number 5. As I have previously stated to this council, I do believe that these individuals will be highly useful, though they seem reluctant to sign the relevant papers to prove their usefulness.
I was going to, but Benjamin told me not
I
to.
believe, she interrupts you, I believe that they will be especially useful on our upcoming excursion. I believe this council is aware of the danger that we are going to face, of the unpredictable monsters that we may find there, of the ancient magics we may awaken. Voice number 2 says, all the more reason we should not expose these individuals to them. My point being, they will be highly useful in that event. Voice number 3 says, they have displayed little willingness to assist in our endeavors.
Can I say something?
The first thing that was done when we arrived was throw 3 people in jail. I think that is warranted somehow.
A justified precaution, says voice number 2. And frankly, we should have done worse given the long list of evidence Danubius provided. Evidence that was discounted, says voice number 3. My point being, says voice number 2, that it was evidence we accepted at the time. Voice number 1 says, yes, you may speak, dwarf.
Alright. It seems even though I talked a lot today, you still seem to be sure that I'm like a genocidal war criminal. I assure you, none of the crimes you accuse me of are real. I am I'm not perfect, but nothing from that list of crimes is... It's all fiction. I didn't do any of that. And I would like to use my DC or stun, if I may.
Of course you may. And
Listen. I thought about this. It's dumb, but you know what would be even dumber? Not using it in this situation. It was specifically made for stuff like this, right?
I'm not contradicting you, yeah? And to be fair, their evidence isn't the most solid, so there's definitely room to sneak in that doubt, so to say. So it's perfectly obviously fine by me, and it's your stunt. Your little speech, for lack of a better term, does leave the council silent. Voice number 3 says, well, the evidence against Mr. Bladebeard is circumstantial at best, the testimony of people with unreliable memories, as we have stated, and of individuals who weren't there. I believe that Mr. Bladebeard is likely innocent, as he claims. Voice number 2 says, does not excuse the fact that he aided and abetted people that were not innocent. Well, says voice number 3, have we determined that this group isn't innocent? I believe so. Have you not listened to what she said? Indicating Lyri. Perhaps. Go ahead.
About what?
Do you need me to go through the list? Says voice number 2. I'd
appreciate it.
Causing the riot orchestrated by the Tortolan, burning the Blackwater Raider supplies, possibly collaborating with the Horde, this reckless and constant misuse of magic, the fact that you're a beacon, no pun intended, for evil magic that simply just seems to be attracted to you like flies to honey. The fact that you recklessly endanger everyone around you. The fact that you almost killed everyone in this chamber just minutes ago. And do you need me to go on? You've admitted to most of these. In fact, you've taunted this council with most of these.
No, I don't think it's that bad.
Respectfully, we disagree, says voice number 2. And voice number...
Well,
go ahead.
Could you at least let Benjamin go free? And my crew?
Remains to be seen, says voice number 2. And voice number 5 says, on that point, if Mr. Benjamin Aaran would agree to aid the Teeironor in our upcoming operation and to keep Lyri as forcefully restrained as possible, I believe that would settle this group's debts, says voice number 5. And voice number 3 says, you're merely speaking your own opinion. The council has not agreed to this. Voice number 5 says, well, what say the 4 of you if we were to offer you a full pardon in exchange for your assistance? Would you agree?
What are the terms of this assistance?
The voice number 5 looks at the rest of the council as if expecting someone else to say this, but all of them look at voice number 5 as in, this is your mess, you deal with it. So voice number 5 shrugs, sighs, and says, you will unconditionally obey the orders of your Teeironor superiors. You will fight in this upcoming military operation. You will be open to assisting Aaran in the future if an urgent need arises. And in return, all of this will be forgotten. Hypothetically, says voice number 2.
Define open, if you will.
I'd like to make some demands.
Above board, what was open?
When she said open to like
Oh.
helping in the future
Okay.
or whatever.
Do you need me to spell it out, says voice number 5, that you will do so? And yes, speak up, indicating Lyri.
I have some demands I put forward. If we agree to this, can you promise to assist Moag in removing his fell affliction? If you can't trust me, you want to keep me quarantined far away, then that's fine, but you have no excuse not to help him, right? He's nothing compared to me.
If we agree to this, says voice number 2, and that is a very big if, I would advocate not just for the curing of Moag's affliction, but also for the curing of your affliction. Though your powers may be circumstantially useful, they are nevertheless dangerous, and if not kept under lock and key, I would have them expunged.
Well, sending them out to a war zone isn't really keeping them under lock and key.
No, it is not, hence why I especially disagree with what my colleague here is proposing. And then voice number 5 would add in, but we cannot deny that your powers are, well, no pun intended, powerful and potentially useful. Do my colleagues disagree with that? Voice number 3 says, I'm still not convinced that the benefits outweigh the risks.
May I give a demonstration with the crown still
No,
on? Of
says
course.
say all 5 of them at the same time, no.
Well, I tried.
There were other matters we would have discussed before finishing this agreement, let's say.
We are not making an agreement, says voice number 2. We're discussing a hypothetical.
Well,
I'm personally still vehemently opposed to this, in spite of my colleagues' bizarre fixation. Carry on.
as some of you might have been informed, we came to the city with a few companions. Among them, a troll, which's tribe was the, well, let's call it guardians of the orb that was retrieved in Booty Bay.
The Ephemeral orb, says voice number 1.
Yes. And she would like to have some, let's call it, peace of mind in knowing that the orb is well kept. Well, better kept than it would be in her tribe's hands, as it was sort of their, like, duty for however many decades.
Voice number 4 says, absolutely not. This would be an extremely dangerous prospect, allowing an unknown quantity into our innermost sanctuary of protected artifacts.
It would just have to be this individual only.
Voice number 1 says, I'm not opposed to this. It would secure the cooperation of her people in the future, and preventing any potential retaliation would, well, I wouldn't say it'd be worth the price, but it would be something that we should be interested in. Though perhaps a visit to our archives would not be in the cards necessarily. I do believe some other demonstration of the safety of the object would perhaps be in order.
Also, do you recall some 2 students that have been up to some problems lately?
Voice number 1 chuckles and says, well, that's what students usually do.
Well, one's involved with a certain tome earlier today.
Poraxian Scriptorium, say voice number 3.
I believe so, yes. I believe, accidentally received a sending spell from them just a few minutes ago, and I think they're about to do something bad again.
And speaking of, here's the bad thing that they were going to do that I had planned. That's a good segue, I'm sure. As voice number 3 twitches, it seems, and says, that is... Well, speaking of, I am now under this strange compulsion to believe that you were the one responsible for destroying the city center of Aaran, Mr. Benjamin.
I wasn't even close to it.
Yeah, he was with me and the warden.
It is odd, says voice number 3. Every fiber of my being believes that you are responsible, but this is highly illogical and sudden. I
Do you
believe
not find that weird?
Of
It's
course
the
I-
exact same thing
of
that
course I
happened to
do.
Meridia.
Of course I do. And given the circumstances, I should ignore it, but it's difficult. What were you doing when the destruction of the city center happened?
He was with
More
me.
like,
we
who
were at
was
the
he
warden.
doing?
Whoa, whoa. No. He was with me and the warden in the waiting area.
Above board, were we? I don't
Yes,
remember.
Yep.
we were.
Yeah. Voice number 1 says, I believe this is an irrelevant line of questioning. Voice number 3 says, still, I want to put my mind at ease. Voice number 5 says, would you perhaps as a show of good faith be willing to bring these wayward students back to face the consequences of their actions, including apparently trying to mind control a member of the Council of Six?
It surprises me that hasn't been done yet. Weren't they found to have stolen something from the vault?
The Tome of Kinfi the Mad, says voice number 2. Voice number 1 says it cannot be separated from them, not without killing them.
So you let them destroy the city center, but you're upset about me for something I haven't even done yet?
They were supposed to be under detention, says voice number 3.
Very scowls.
I
Weird priorities, but... I mean, we'll fetch him if you want us to.
I don't, voice number 2 says, I'm not convinced that the 4 of you should be let loose into Aaran. Maybe we can trust Mr. Bladebeard if he's not in the company of your group, but together with you, I would not be so certain.
Have we not just found a Legion conspirator just a few hours ago? Is that worth nothing?
Are you talking about Danubius above board?
Yeah.
Danubius's crimes were many, but he was certainly no agent of the Legion, says voice number
Did
3.
he not have a succubus or satyr or whatever working for him? Was he not keeping the warden under his mind control?
As I said, his crimes were not numerous, but demonology in and of itself does not imply association of the Burning Legion.
It's okay, he was only doing weird things with succubus, Benjamin. It wasn't like he was collaborating or anything.
Voice number 2 says, Danubius' crimes are undeniable. I will remind you that hence we are not really referencing his testimony in this discussion. But from my point of view, the only reason you exposed and dealt with Danubius was because he was directly threatening you.
Yes,
Yes,
they
obviously.
did to save our own ass.
So why should we
Obviously.
trust you?
You don't have any reason to trust us.
My point exactly, says voice number 2. Voice number 5 says, well, isn't there any remuneration or assistance you would like? Are you offering the resources of Aaran, says voice number 2, merely discussing a hypothetical, as you have put it, my dear colleague, says voice number 5.
Well, I believe Bladebeard also had an issue to bring up. Lives at risk, you might say.
Yeah, I was waiting my turn.
Explain, says voice number 3.
So, the main reason I came to Dalaran was because my crew is trapped in a magical storm somewhere on the sea above sunken troll city of some kind, and I was thinking of asking you lovely people for help.
Which sunken troll city, says voice number 1.
Maybe Hakala knows more about troll cities. Can I try to, because I don't remember what was the name, but I believe Muzala told me. Did he?
I believe so. Feel free to give me a careful to see if you can remember. You do. Ilalai. I'll type it in chat.
Wait. It was something like La La Land. Ilalai?
Voice number 1 seems to freeze in its tracks and says, then perhaps it is better that your crew not be found. I don't believe such a callous statement has a place here, says voice number 5. Voice number 1 says, You're an accomplished sailor, Mr. Bladebeard. Surely you have heard the tales of the sunken city and the folly of Minloth?
Have I?
Give me a careful, it'll be a very difficult roll, but maybe. No. That's mumbo jumbo.
Ah, yes. No.
So, there are various prophecies regarding Ilalai, and it's a place heavily associated with dark magics and eldritch creatures that I will not name. It is... Voice number 5 interjects and says, precisely the kind of thing we would not want to leave innocents in. Voice number 1 says, true. But I worry that our intervention may stir old troubles.
I mean, I have to go after them, with your help or not. They are my crew. And I know you guys, I mean, the figure number 4, definitely not Mera, wants us to go to war. And sure, Horde has been 4. My enemy as well.
Wait, what about...
Yeah, I think you mean 5.
Yeah, person number 5. Yeah, that's what I said. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5.
Wait. What about the Horde? I thought we were going to be fighting mysterious enemies.
Dalaran is at war with the Horde. That's clearly what they want us to do.
But they're not mysterious.
Anyway, whatever you need, I am willing to help. But I need to save my crew first.
Are they... Voice number 1 says, while proximity to Ilalai in and of itself is dangerous, are you implying that there's a specific time-sensitive issue at hand, given that you are not necessarily aware of the dangers of that city?
Well, food and water don't last forever. I suppose there's that.
Yeah. They've been there for... how long, Teeironor?
Well, actually, you don't exactly know, because you don't know the full timeline.
How long?
At most 2 months, at least 2 to 3 weeks. 3 weeks ish. So between 3 weeks and 2 months.
I say that. So yeah, max 2 months, at least 3 weeks.
Voice number 5 says, then I believe a simple arrangement should be made. We offer you assistance in rescuing your crew. It should take less amount of time than it would be needed for the operation to begin, and in exchange you will fight on our side.
I will make sure that the name Bladebeard is known and feared across the ranks of the Horde.
This is voice number 2 speaking. You're once again reaching. We have not made a deal yet. This is at best a hypothetical. And certainly while Mr. Bladebeard is, let's say, blameless except for perhaps ignorance and assisting people who are guilty, the other 3 I am not so willing to overlook. Voice number 5 says, well, if they... perhaps a simple demonstration, have them aid Mr. Bladebeard and our forces in rescuing Mr. Bladebeard's crewmates, and based on that live demonstration of their abilities and loyalties, we further consider their status. Voice number 1 says, I don't want to repeat myself, but I should reiterate that Ilalai is not a place you would want dangerous magics to be near of.
I mean, Northrend is not a place you would want to go. Outland is not a place you would want to go, but we all went there when our world was at risk, when people's lives were at least risk. And that's exactly what's happening here.
That's actually a good line, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it is above board. Voice number 2 says, I am still very much opposed to letting the Blood Oath go. And I'm still not convinced about the Ogre and Mr. Benjamin.
If you don't want to let me go, don't let me go. But at least let those 2 out.
Voice number 3 says, would you be willing to assist Mr. Bladebeard in recovering his crewmates? Understand that the voice number 3 is now addressing everyone, that your actions in Ilalai thus would not just put yourselves at risk, but also Mr. Bladebeard's old comrades at risk. Given that, would you be willing to aid him?
I would.
More Lyri?
Oh, are they addressing us?
Yeah, the entire group. Well, except kind of Bladebeard, but you know.
Can you say that you agree by saying you have my and then your weapon?
I don't have weapons. I threw them on the ground because Benjamin told me to a while ago.
You have my cannon.
And my axes?
You only have 1 axe.
No, I have multiple.
We only use 1.
I have multiple axes.
Lyri frowns. Sure. I don't think Bladebeard would want me there though, but if he does, then okay.
Archmage, says voice number 2, addressing voice number 1, if we agree to this live demonstration, I would ask you to arrange, well, our friends travel and their supervision. And I would ask you to determine whether we should, at the end of this, lock them up in the hold, kill them outright, or perhaps if they can be trusted enough to aid in what my fellow Archmage indicating number 5 is proposing. I, of course, would be willing to, yes. It would be I would relish the opportunity to study that ancient city, to be perfectly frank.
Wait, when are we doing this?
Do you say this out loud, like in earshot of the council as well?
No, just like our little group.
Given that there's no reply, I'll carry on. Voice number 3 says, "This is, for me at least, satisfactory. I trust my fellow Archmage," indicating number 1's judgment on the matter. Voice number 2 says, "Given how dangerous the three of you, because I guess you'll exclude Bladebeard, are, I would not trust entirely his capability of bringing you to justice if such a matter were to happen." Voice number 5 says, "Well, what's the big issue? If worst comes to worst, they will be stuck in the middle of the ocean, won't they?" "If worst comes to worst," says continues voice number 5. They all pause to think. If you'd like to deliver any other arguments or suggestions, feel free to do so.
You didn't reply, any of you. What the hell are we doing? Benjamin!
Didn't you listen? We're gonna save Bladebeard's crew.
No.
And then, yeah?
What about the students? I thought we were gonna do that.
I guess not. Look, just let's see what's decided first, okay?
Okay. If there's nothing else, voice number 2 says, Then I call the council in order. Let us vote on the following proposal: that these 4 individuals, Captain Moarg, Chief Captain Moarg, Moby Ganmore, Benjamin, Aaran, and Lyri Embersorrow, be temporarily set free to rescue Captain Moby Ganmore's crewmates under the supervision of Archmage Ansram Runeweaver. The other council members look at voice number 2 like, hey, you're saying that out loud, but voice number 2 continues. If their performance is satisfactory and they demonstrate that they would not be a danger to the plans of the Kirin Tor or to those around them, then they will be asked to assist in the upcoming special military operation, following which they will be exonerated of their crimes, at least from the point of view of the Kirin Tor, and set free until Aaran needs them again. Okay, no additions from you guys. Voice number 2 says, Archmage, indicating number 1, what do you vote? I vote in favor. Archmage, indicating number 3, in favor. Archmage, indicating number 4, against. Archmage, indicating number 5, in favor. And myself, I vote against. So the proposal passes with 3 votes to 2. Yay, applause.
It was fun.
Gary just kind of blinks.
Yippee!
There's a voice number 1, whom now you know is Ansram Runeweaver, says, there is still a matter of your troll companion, as you said. Perhaps I should go and meet with them.
She could be of great aid in this endeavor of saving my crew. I mean, she's a troll priestess. Probably knows a lot of stuff about her history.
Likely. I'll need to discuss it in detail. Discuss with it in detail myself. Says voice number 1. Are there any other issues that need to be brought forth before this council from your group? Asks voice number 2.
Above board, am I forgetting anything?
Are they gonna look after our family here in Aaran? Benjamin has. Wait, do we have people in Aaran or friends? I don't remember.
There's Bladebeard's mom, my dad.
Yeah, these 6
Shalan's son.
These 6 people that you see right here.
Yeah, could you arrange places for them to stay while we go on a exploration adventure?
Is there a reason they ought to remain in Daoran? Says voice number 2.
Well, there's
I
kind of
think
clones of us and evil people in Booty Bay that may be after us.
Oh, we
family.
didn't even mention the clones. There's a clone of me out there somewhere, and I think
Isn't like in the Broken Shore or something?
I don't remember. I think Bladebeard knew where it was.
What?
Where the clones were from.
There is one more matter I just remembered, still pertaining to our troll friend. Another of the objects recovered in Booty Bay was a staff that essentially connects her to her ancestor, Loa person. It's like an. It's like a.
I'm sorry. I have to BRB just for a second. I'm really sorry.
No problem.
Just give me a second.
No worries.
Well,
Wow.
I'm surprised they let Lyri go. She was trying to play like the bad cop, but I guess Bladebeard's charm just saved the day.
Okay, I'm back. Thompshire's BRB. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll obviously let Thompshire talk about the staff, but before that, I think the clone matter would grab the council's attention, and I guess the council will ask the rest of you, and Thompshire can chime in later. What is this clone matter?
It's tied to the Ethereals. They had a boat in Booty Bay, and it was posing as a gambling kind of ship, a gambling operation. And we went inside because, Benjamin's dad was inside, and so was Kyrie Gosa. I'm sure she will be able to inform you about this. But when we were in there, we figured out that it was some kind of like ethereal operation, and they were keeping people inside the ship through gambling in order to create clones of them. So there's clones of me, and I think some of the other members of my crew, and also various other Booty Bay officials, and they escaped to areas unknown, I suppose.
Disturbing.
I killed one of the clones.
Which one, if I may ask? Says voice number 3.
Juba. Juba had a clone. We fought him together, and I was victorious. And he exploded. Did he explode?
I think he did, right?
Yeah, my clone exploded too.
So if you run into any of the clones, they explode when they are killed.
I believe they were teleported away. Board.
Sure. They disappear when they die.
Well, there was a bright light that happened with Juba So yeah, understandable. And yeah, Benjamin exploded, Juba was teleported away, I think. Don't remember why, but I think that's what happened. Anyway, voice number 4 says, perhaps after the military operation is all taken care of, we will kindly ask you to deal with the problem that all of you solved and finally end this ethereal menace then.
Wait, I have a question for Benjamin.
Oh, shouldn't I finish up the staff business first?
Yeah, sorry, we
sure.
we pretended Benjamin didn't say anything, so to facilitate the flow of the story.
Okay, blah 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 blah. I said what I said, and I was saying it connects like an ancestor lower person, kind of like an old troll man in the sky. He had thunder and stuff. Whatever. It's kind of important to her personally and her tribe as a whole, I suppose.
Your point?
Maybe you should consider being returned. And that's what I'm saying.
Is it the one that was also uncovered in the Battle of Booty Bay? Says voice number 1.
Yes, it had been taken by Zulgaga, I believe.
I cannot promise its return, but I can promise to discuss with your companion and see if we can come to an arrangement that would be satisfactory.
Benjamin nods.
It's the staff of the storms, and we are going into a storm. And it's also a troll staff. Maybe it can aid us in our quest.
I do not believe it would be wise to bring it, says voice number 1. Though, Bladebeard, if you remember, the voice of Mozala asked you to bring it, that you would need it.
I'll trust your word on it.
Very well, says voice number 1. Voice number 2 says, perhaps depending on your performance and trustworthiness, we may indeed, as my colleague suggested, ask you to deal with the ethereal menace once and for all, after the military operation is dealt with.
About that, Benjamin, how capable was the clone in regards to you? You fought your own clone, right?
He was pretty much just me.
Like equal in every aspect?
I suppose.
Okay, well, there's another Lyri out there with the same capabilities as me, and that should worry you. So maybe we could bump that up a little bit, getting rid of that one.
We have no leads to hunt it down, says voice number 2.
Lyri shrugs then.
Something to consider, at the very least, says voice number 3. Well then, says voice number 4, I believe this debacle has settled. Though not wisely, it is nevertheless. Well, one more thing, says voice number 5. Perhaps it would be good to hand over this, indicating Danubius's book, annotated book. It may help with finding what exactly is going on, perhaps securing a cure for Shallan and all of that. I'm not opposed, says voice number 1.
Couldn't you make a copy just in case? If we're going on a big boat, maybe it isn't the best idea to have a book.
Do you have a scribe ready to prepare the copy?
Should it not be passed to Archmage Kagdar, since he's the one handling?
He's currently on temporary suspension for blatantly breaking Teeironor policy for, frankly, arbitrary reasons, says voice number 2.
I see.
Can you put it in his waiting room?
he's only trusted, for lack of a better term, to continue researching Shallan's condition. And for now, that is, as I mentioned, he's currently under suspension. Otherwise,
I still think the book's probably safer with you than it is with us.
At least until the boat business is handled.
Yeah, we don't have good track records with boats. We usually have rough journeys. These lot have fought a kraken before. Can you believe it?
very well, says.
I did.
Very well, says voice number 5. If you will need it, you will have someone who can get it, let's say. And voice number 5 will leave it at that. Voice number 1 says, well, I'll be ready to depart for Hilalai tomorrow, so you have the tomorrow afternoon, I should say, so you have until then to settle whatever affairs you have.
Lyri won't disguise herself as a high elf.
One question I should ask, says voice number 2. What is this magic that's trying to summon you? Asking Lyri.
That? Can you get rid of it?
It has no way of reaching into this chamber, but it's almost as if it's
Okay.
a warlock summon.
Well, basically, this is an embarrassing situation. A ogre warlock in the Badlands summoned me thinking I was a succubus and made me do really weird tasks around his ogre base, and now I don't remember exactly how I broke the thing, the summon, but now he sent people after me to kill me, and he's trying to summon me back at any point, and yeah. So if you could break it, I'd be really appreciative of it. And I mean, having me get summoned out of your grip would be pretty bad, so, you know, please.
Well, you have resisted being summoned before, have you not?
I don't remember how, though.
This is not something we can break, this magical bond, but given that, well, it seems he has attempted to summon you before and failed, it shouldn't be an issue.
Above board, what do we do again to stop it from happening?
I don't
Wasn't it
remember.
the hat?
I
don't
I
think it
think
was. I think it was broke before that. I think it was
Before,
like.
yeah.
when she became full void, when she drew the card,
Oh yeah.
I think it was that.
Yeah, you're right.
She became like too powerful for him to summon or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. There's still like the magical bond there, hence why he's been summoning assassins to get you, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm remembering now. Yeah. Okay. Well, perhaps if you obtain the good graces of the Teeironor, we may be able to deal with this minor ogre warlord, says voice number 2, though I very much doubt it.
Okay.
I believe the meeting is dismissed, says voice number 2. Unless there are any other issues that this group would want to bring up, says voice number 3.
Lyri will.
I suppose there are still some remnants of the faction that attacked Booty Bay still at large.
You mean the fell orcs, the undead under Zolgaga? Whom do you mean?
I believe they were part of the Fell Orc faction. They were working with that Death Knight that's imprisoned here, I believe.
They did arrive through a portal from Outland, if I remember correctly, says voice number 1.
Oh, speaking of, they were trying to like break out. I mean, I know everyone in the battle horde is trying to break out, but you know, maybe you should like check in on them or something.
Oh yeah,
Did they
when we
have-
were in jail,
Did they...
we were contacted
Yeah,
mentally.
they kept contacting us, trying to get us to break out, and we said no. But I mean, you
Through-
should probably look into that.
That is concerning if they can circumvent the wards like that, says voice number 3.
Did they?
Oh,
Tell
also,
us, did
check out the prisons in general. The warden that was with us, or what was the title? I don't remember. Is very overworked and underfunded, and it's a whole mess there.
Did they tell us how they were going to circumvent the prison?
Above board, yeah. If you were going to allow the Death Knight to possess you temporarily, by your powers combined, you could break the ward.
Yeah, specifically, the Death Knight wanted to possess me to combine our powers and break the ward open. So you might want to like put him next to stuff that can't be possessed, because
That
he's
is
gonna probably try doing that again.
deeply concerning, says voice number 4. And voice number... which one would it be? I think 5. Voice number 5 would say, I believe Lieutenant Sinclair has matters well under control, as she always has.
Lieutenant, yeah. No, she doesn't.
I apologize, but I will believe her official reports over your word in this matter.
Yeah, but please do.
And above board, you guys know her official reports were fucked over with by the Nubius, so you know.
Well, they'll be getting real official reports sometime soon.
And they'll somehow ignore them until Legion for whatever reason. Anyway, the voice number 1 would say, so, shall we adjourn this meeting?
Lyri transforms her cut off arm into a bigger hand with a big thumb. She
Sure.
has a big thumb.
Sure.
Okay.
It's a weird way of explaining it, but
Voice number 2 jumps a little. Voice number 5 chuckles. And voice number 2 says, very well, dismissed. And all of you will be teleported back, I think, in front of the Violet Hold where you were left off, I guess.
Lyri quickly makes her hand normal because there's people around.
Well, that was horrifying.
And
What, did the court meeting?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And for various reasons, I kind of have to cut the session around this time, if that's all right with everyone.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay. Thoughts on today's session, everyone?
The long-awaited hearing.
I thought it would go worse.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too, to
same.
be honest. Me too, to be honest.
I kept trying to play like the bad cop, so maybe they'd be nicer to everyone else, but apparently they didn't care because Bladebeard was so charismatic. So
In part. That said, Bladebeard, your stunt will not go to waste in the sense of you're not technically forced to go to the Isle of Thunder. Everyone else is because they're on probation, but you're not, because the Kirintor is more or less assured that you're innocent, if that makes sense.
Awesome.
But we'll get to that when we get to that, because I suppose the rescuing Bladebeard's crew from Ilalai thing will come first. And also you do get one more night and morning and evening in Dalron to do whatever it is you wish, if that makes sense.
so we'll be here for like 20 more episodes. It's fine.
Yeah, probably.
Possibly.
We'll teleport to Exodar.
We'll teleport
Just
to the other
randomly.
side, and then we'll be like teleported into a prison, stuck in there again.
Maybe. Never know. Yeah. Gurren is still the ransacker of the Mage's Commerce Exchange, so you know.
Oh god. Well, they didn't care about Gurren, so who cares?
Well, yeah, again, as you guys mentioned, this session went better than I expected for all of you. I mean, you're not out of the woodwork entirely yet, but hopefully everything will be good. What can I say? Moarg talking to fake Bladebeard really screwed you guys over, because without that,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have had much on you.
They wouldn't have had anything, really.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I had to play him honest.
They'd say thank you for being heroes, and we'd be sent home with big medals.
Yeah.
And I mean, he told them stuff that not even true.
Yeah, the fact
Yeah,
that Bladebeard
he had-
intentionally blew the island up.
Yeah, he added stuff. Like, what the fuck, dude?
he had his own perspective is the problem.
His point of view is wrong.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Well, funnily enough, Moarg did say some stuff that reinforced the fact that, yeah, Khadgar should stay suspended.
Oh boy.
Nice. He should be.
But yeah, didn't mention this in session, but the suspension above board would have been a unanimous vote by the other council members.
Fair, I suppose.
So wait, Jaina and someone else said no. For
Vargoth.
this whole-
Vargoth. Obviously, Vargoth.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys are fucking up the Netherstorm. The precious Netherstorm.
Well, and Outland, and by extension Azeroth, or at least like the southeastern part of Azeroth.
We'll blow up the Dark Portals, everything's fine.
Yeah. I mean, they should probably do that anyway. It's caused so much issues.
I mean, there's not a, but bunch of whole societies of people living on the other side of the Dark Portal.
Well, their loss.
They're gonna be locked out anyway in like a year. They'll have to go the old-fashioned way.
Maybe. I haven't kept up with World of Warcraft, obviously, but was it ever explained, like, for instance, how Fro wound up retiring in Nagrand and all that? Like, what connections are left with Outland and such?
I'm pretty sure they can just make portals, right?
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, we can make portals to the afterlife, it's fine.
fair enough. I'll keep my mouth shut.
I don't think
I
they
believe-
explained it, but
I believe
assume...
that
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, in terms of like the Dark Portal, like that was reconnected to Outland. It's no
I
longer
mean,
connected
did
to
he
Draenor.
take his family through the path of glory filled with demons and fell orcs? I don't
Yes.
think that's a great idea.
I mean,
Maybe
probably
it's a
took
good
wyverns,
history
but-
lesson, but
He had,
like...
he had to visit Nazgrel for the first time in 15 years.
They took
Oh, yeah.
they took a flying mount. They took a
yeah, they probably took a flying.
Yeah, and they pull out like the fell anti-air batteries or something, I don't know. Don't
Maybe.
they have like tons of cannons in the Hellfire
used-
Citadel?
He used his like recruiter friend 2-seater rocket mount to fire them over. It's fine.
Would not surprise me in the least. What can I say?
But, I mean, yeah, the court went really well. I mean, I was trying to stir up all kinds of machinations to, you know, do stuff, but I don't think it really mattered in the end.
It did almost screw you over in the end.
I guess. I
They
mean,
should have.
yeah, probably, realistically.
Hmm.
I mean, that was kind of the plan would be, well, I'm so evil, that means these guys are nothing, you know, you can let them go.
No, that just means we're harboring a super villain.
We are.
But, man, I was really trying to push that. Well, we can't trust anyone's testimonies because we all have voices in our head thing, but I guess
I don't.
care about that. Well, apart from you.
Mhm.
You didn't say anything bad anyway. You didn't say any incriminating stuff. It was only the people who had voices in their heads. So I was gonna be like, well, how can you trust any of us? But I guess they didn't care anyway.
Hmm. Well, we'll see. You be traveling with Archmage Runeweaver, so that's like one of the lesser developed characters of the Council of Six, I guess.
Yeah, we can tell them we know his daughter.
I'm sure he'll love that, and I'm sure that's also publicly available information.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh-huh.
they did show up that one time in Booty Bay in like the Pro of Pandaria comic, all like fancy, like riding on waves, Modera 2. But
I don't know. Maybe let something slip, like with the ambience of the sea. I don't know. We'll see.
maybe. Any plans for like the rest of your stay in Daoran? Obviously, I have some stuff in mind, but like any plans from you guys?
I think
Yeah.
the only thing Lyri has to do is get new daggers because the old ones she has are
Didn't
Probably.
Benjamin pick them up, or I don't,
Yeah.
or ask you
Yeah.
to pick them up?
Yeah, I feel like it'd be weird for me to just leave them behind.
I don't know. Well, maybe.
Well, she left them in the fake waiting room, so they would teleport out, right?
Yeah, but I don't think she picked them up after they fell in the water. I mean, would they still be there?
I don't know. I don't keep track of your weapons.
Wait, did we undo the poop water reality, or is that still existing? 'Cause I'm not.
It's still
I think that's canon.
it existed. The only difference is that Bladebeard didn't get splashed with it. If just so to say.
Yeah, I'm not fishing through the poop water to get my daggers back. I'll just get some new ones.
Not even for some cool fell daggers.
Oh, I forgot there are like extra cool felling blades. Oh, but it's poop water.
Well, it's also your stunt item, so you would have to give up your stunt.
Not anymore. Not been my stuff.
Wait, I'm pretty sure in the last session, Lyri like threw them on the ground, so you had them,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I
think.
did, didn't I?
You threw them on the ground in the waiting room.
did.
I said that.
I threw them out of the box I made in the waiting. Yeah, you're right.
They
You're right, I do have them.
they would be teleported along with you outside, like where you guys are currently at, outside of our hold. Up to you if you pick them up, I guess.
No, I picked them up. I guess I have no plans then.
Sure. Sure.
Oh yeah, we should visit the half-elf ladies, the rogue and the paladin. They said that they would help Bladebeard, right?
Mm-hmm. They did, yeah.
Is that the new set? Is that on the WoW export now, Thompshire?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What is it? Oh, you posted it in the Discord. Oh, okay.
yeah, it's the remake of Judgment.
Okay, we for the viewers, we will show that off next time, I think. I guess. Just
cool.
because not that many people will be listening to the discussion, I imagine.
Wow.
But yeah. Okie dokie. What else ought we to bring up today? Oh, Paraxian Scriptorium are kind of still,
Stupid.
yeah, messing with you. Well, not, yeah. I was gonna say not intentionally, but yeah, intentionally.
Yeah. At this point, I hope they get hanged.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, wouldn't have to be that long of a rope to actually control.
That's horrible.
It's true. I mean, we just gonna leave them. They were like, "Oh, get rid of them," and then like, actually, go do this Bladebeard stuff instead.
Hey, yeah, that's more important.
We're just gonna let them destroy Runeweaver Square again.
Look, if the Kirin can't handle two babies, they deserve it.
They have a spell book that lets them cast possibly every spell in existence if they can manage it. Well, if mostly random chance and their squabbling gets them to those pages.
What if they somehow do the Lyri Void spell on themselves, and then there's like 3 more
Can
Lyri?
they accidentally summon Archimond? Is that in the dice?
Yeah,
Interesting.
unlikely,
about-
but yeah.
What about summoning the all-devouring creature again?
The void one you absorbed.
No, the
Endless hunger.
the endless
Oh,
hunger.
the endless hunger. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, because it's a spell.
Okay, well, I guess
What
we're
even
gonna-
qualifies as a spell?
I mean, a lot of things like we established last time. Bladebeard summoning his mount is a spell.
Because, like, what about spells that aren't created yet?
God.
Well, if you're thinking of stuff, I don't know, like shaman spells, those aren't technically spells. They are.
No, I mean in the sense spells are like created by someone by figuring out the magic or whatever, right?
Oh, like invented.
Yeah.
Well, Kinfi the Mad, who wrote that tome, was called the Mad for a reason.
Fair enough, I guess.
We'll deal with it at the time, let's say.
Yeah. If Archimond shows up, we know.
Yeah, if he does, yeah, that's...
Hopefully he destroys Dalaran again.
For good this time.
We'll see. Okie dokie. Is there anything else we ought to talk about before we go into our shoutouts?
Does Mohawk have any Dalaran plans
Oh yeah,
before we leave?
Banarak?
I guess not. He's disappeared apparently.
Are you with us, Banarak?
Hello?
Hello. Do you have plans for the
Yeah.
rest of your stay in Dalran?
I can't think of any for Moark at the moment. He kind of already did his demon hunter thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Larry doesn't really have any plans either, so I guess we're in the same boat.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Well then, dear viewers, thank you for watching and listening to us. Let's see what these people are up to, and all that. We ought to start according to the dice, apparently, with Banarak. Banarak, could you please go ahead and talk about yourself and what you are doing?
Yes, hello. I am Banarak. I make videos on World of Warcraft mostly. Yeah, I'm primarily on YouTube and Twitter. I've been doing some speculation videos on the new WoW expansion of War Within. And hopefully I'll be able to also get a new mission out for the Christmas times. But that's a bit ahead, but yeah. That's what I've been doing.
Neat. Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Banarak. Then, according to the dice, we would have Zelryn. Could you please go ahead and talk about yourself and what you're doing?
Hey, I'm Aaran. I make videos. They'll come out eventually. Check out my things to see when the videos come out, when they come out. It's been a year since I last posted anything, so, whoops. But I promise there'll be something soon, and I mean it this time, not like last year where I've said it and nothing's come out.
Thank you very, very much, Zelryn. Do check her out. Then we would have Sir Thompshire. Could you please go ahead and talk about yourself and what you are doing?
Sure. You can find me both on YouTube and Twitter as Sir Thompshire, where I post my renders, some sneak peeks for upcoming projects and all that. And as I've been saying for a couple weeks now, I'm currently working on the first episode of a new series called Teeironor. It's progressing well. I've got all voice lines, so just gotta finish up the, mission them apart. Maybe it'll come out this month, maybe next month. Who knows? We'll see. That's all.
Neat. Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Thompshire. And then, of course, we would have DoomGoblin. Could you please go ahead and talk about yourself and what you are doing?
Yeah, I'm DoomGoblin. I draw stuff. Currently, I'm drawing a bunch of vampires because it's October. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Those are the most popular ones that I have. But I also have DeviantArt and ArtStation. So yeah.
Awesome. Indeed. Thank you very, very much, DoomGoblin. And dear viewers, was your Dungeon Master Game Master, Teeironor. I do this series, it's a lot of fun. I do also another series called Legacy of the Rimland. It's been on break for a couple weeks, unintentionally so, my bad. Yeah, kinda. We'll get back soon enough. Like, we should have an episode out. This comes out on Saturday, so 2 days from now, by the time you're watching this video. But yeah, do check that out, and yeah, I hope to see you there. Other than that, thank you, dear viewers, for watching and listening to us. We should be back next week. There's a possibility that I may not be able to, but I'll keep you all posted on Twitter and Blue Sky and such if I can't. But we'll see you when we'll see you. Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye bye.